So it's Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the Iceman, Ice Scully. John, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm very good. It's great to see you after it's been a long time. Yeah, and you used to work together, for people that don't know, back in the Boxing News magazine days. You've always been a top trainer, before that a top fighter, of course. And now you're here at the very top table with Artur Beterbiev. What makes him stand out, perhaps, from other fighters that you've had the pleasure of working with?
I think his dedication, his level of commitment to boxing, and his most impressively his mentality is really off the charts. And I always preach that with boxers. You have to have a certain mentality, and he has it. He's the role model for the mentality.
And tell us about how the duties are divided in camp. I know you've got Mark Ramsey, you've got Russ Amber, of course, as well. What do you do specifically with Artur that perhaps the other guys don't do so much?
Well, I do the pads with him, and I work on basically Mark gives me free reign to do what I want. Like whatever I see with Artur that I feel like I could help with, then I work on that. And for each fight, I pick out a couple things that I think would work against the opponent, and we just work on that. I focus on that for 6 or 7 weeks.
And in the period of time you've been working with Artur, 6-7 years now, what improvements have you noticed, or things that you've specifically tried to work on with him?
I'm very proud that I believe his jab is much better, and his body punching. And when I first started working with him, he was a product of the Russian amateur system. And as great as they were, they didn't really focus on body punching. And when I first got with Artur, I kept telling him, like, as a professional, with your power and your strength, if you could learn how to really dig those body shots, you're going to hurt people so much more. And so I think I've helped. I think I've helped a great deal with his body punching and probably his jab, which I focused on.
Now, I have to ask, because you, as you've said, do a lot of pad work with him. How does his power compare to some of the fighters you've worked with when you're actually feeling them through the pads?
Well, people always ask me that, and I'll tell you a funny thing. I don't really know, because I have a technique, kind of like as a fighter. When I hold the pads, I really don't feel the impact. I'm very relaxed, because a lot of trainers, they go after 10 years or so, their shoulders and their elbows are all ruined. I know plenty of guys said they can't even hold the pads anymore, but I've never had a problem because I'm able to relax. But obviously, when he sits down on his punches, I mean, they're very strong. I wouldn't want to get hit by him.
What do you think is the secret to that? I mean, he was a puncher from back in the amateur days, we know that, and now he's got this 100% KO record. How does he do it?
I mean, I think in a large way, punching power is God-given. You're born, you're not going to make someone Julian Jackson. You're not going to make a person punch like Julian Jackson. That's not even possible. You can improve punching power to a degree with better technique and timing and different things like that, which I try to work on with him. But he's a natural puncher. I didn't have anything to do with that. Mark didn't have anything to do with that. He's a born puncher.
How long have you been kind of studying Anthony Yarde? Not necessarily because you knew this fight was going to happen, but just because he's an upcoming light heavyweight.
Right. Just for a couple of years. Like, basically, when I first heard about him was the Kovalev fight. And so I've watched that fight numerous times just to see if I could pick something out that would help us.
And have you seen improvements from Yarde since then?
To a degree, but I think I get very deep with the boxing, right? And certain things I don't think he can improve on. And there was a psychological faltering in that fight. He broke, and the pace of the fight or whatever it was, it broke him. And I don't think you can fully repair that. I think that's an edge we have that Artur would never, ever falter in that way. He wouldn't go down and not try to get up. So I think we have an advantage there, which I picked out from that fight. That's a thing where even if you're an amateur with 5 fights, how you respond is how you respond as a person. And how he responded, I don't think was, it didn't seem like he really tried to get up. I think he was so tired. And I'm sure he was a little hurt, but I think he was so tired, and the pace of the fight, I think he kind of suffocated himself, and that's not a good trait to have going into a fight with Artur.
Do you expect a similar outcome and a similar pattern of the fight on Saturday night against Kovalev?
I mean, I could see that only, but worse, because see, the thing is, the fight with Kovalev was not fought at a tremendous pace. You know, Kovalev was more of a boxer. He wasn't aggressive, you know, a warrior. So I think the moment got to Yarde. I think it wasn't just the fight. I think it was everything that kind of tired him out. But like I say, Artur is all of that and more. And, you know, when you're in Artur, like guys box with him in the gym, and they tell me it's like he's suffocating me, like just sucking the air out of the room. And you've got to finish the round before you die, you know? And I think I'm looking for that. We're looking to take advantage of that. You know, Artur's going to implement his mentality on Yarde. And I don't think there's a chance that Yarde has a stronger mentality. I know for a fact he doesn't have a stronger mentality than Artur. So we have a huge advantage going in.
And looking further ahead, should all go well on Saturday night, how much does it mean to you personally that he gets that opportunity to unify all the belts in the 175-pound division?
That's the goal, and I know for a fact that's Artur's goal. Artur is a funny guy. He doesn't care who it is. Like most guys, they want to fight Canelo. They want to fight this one. He doesn't care who it is. Whoever has the other belt is who he wants to fight. He wants to get all the belts. He doesn't care about names, and he doesn't even watch boxing. He doesn't watch Canelo. I don't think he's ever seen Canelo fight, honestly, other than a couple tapes we might have watched. So he wants to unify the titles. I know that for sure. And whoever it is, it is.
And talking of questions you've probably been asked a number of times before, I'm going to ask it anyway. How does the satisfaction of seeing one of your top fighters come through a tough fight compare to doing the same as an active boxer yourself?
You know, it's different because, you know, when I was a fighter, I understand fighters and I understand what it takes for them. A lot of times, like I might have had trainers that were good trainers, but they didn't fight, so they couldn't understand what I was going through. But I see these guys, especially Artur, come through tough situations with the cut with Marcus Brown, and for him to come through those, I understand what it takes to do that. And that's why I respect Artur so much more after these last few fights, because of what he's come through to be successful.
Brilliant. John, always a pleasure. I could talk to you for hours, but we've got to give other people a chance. But no, best of luck for Saturday night.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.